The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, welcome everybody to the weekly Noyantis Usergroup meeting. Today is the 28th of October, 2019. Myself and John are your guests, your hosts. Sorry. Okay, we're just waiting for other attendees. We are actually on a different link URL to the webinar, so we're just waiting for attendees to join us. But I know we've got Glenn here already. As always, we'll start with any updates and so on. First of all, must apologise for the late cancellation of last week's webinar. It couldn't be helped. We had basically an emergency situation, a particular client update going live and so on and so forth, and we just had to really just commit to getting that particular software working so on in a very quick manner. So apologies for the late cancellation. It's not the norm, but we're here now. Okay, so no template updates this last week, but there has been some more changes going on underneath the surface. ReportControl has had some extra enhancements going into it to do with binding, and there's going to be, it's not in there at the moment, but there's going to be some changes related to the range limiting of the view loading, plus also conditional icons. Just like you get with the Clarion browse, where you can say the default icon for a particular row is such and such an icon, and you can conditionally set it to, under condition. So those changes are going into the ReportControl as well. So really mirroring the Clarion equivalent. The CommandBars is also in the middle of having some updates, and that's to do with a speed enhancement for the loading. That's underway and looking promising so far. That's good. And of course, the Chillcat wrapper also gets more work going into it all the time. So more work on the Pay Simple interface, as well as the MYOB accounting interface. And that's really it for the update. So hopefully you should see a command bar update out next week, possibly even a ReportControl update as well. Okay, so I can see Glenn has got his hand up. So Glenn, have you got a microphone? If you have, we're going to open the mic. Hi, Glenn.
Hello, hi, how are you?
Yes, fine, thank you.
I'm here. Yeah, hi.
So, I mean, must be late for yourself there. What time are you on? 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night?
Actually, it's already 11 o'clock here at night.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you very much for attending. So, how can we help?
Okay, actually, one of my major concern right now is on the ReportControl using, although I have already run based on the instruction that you gave me, and also you have sent me some examples, which really gave me an idea on how to do it. But based on the format that I would like to show on my screen is how can I, for example, if it is more than 1,000, it should be formatted like there is a comma separated. Can we do that on the group total? Because as I have seen from the example, the format should be, the picture format should be with there is n underscore something, meaning it doesn't have to show the comma separated. But what I want to do on my ReportControl is it should also show the comma separated. Can we do that also in the ReportControl?
And this is for the group totaling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now for the group totals, let's just take a look at this example application. Okay. The format for the group totals is actually the CodeJock picture, not a CodeJock, not a Clarion picture. So it really depends on if that, and to be honest, I don't know whether it does, but it really depends on if that particular picture supports comma separated. So we would have to have a look just let me compile up the example, make sure this example's
Okay.
got something we want in it. If it hasn't, we'll copy in one of the master examples.
Mhm.
Okay. No, that's an old example. So let me bring in a better one. 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe, yeah. So it's the group totals we're discussing, yeah.
Mhm.
So these now, the grand total down at the bottom, we're in charge of, and we can control the picture of that. E.g., we've got the commas, and you've got the pound, the dollar sign, or the currency sign,
Mhm.
and so on. But the group totals, they are painted basically on the fly via Kojak. So if we
Mhm.
take a look at the template, when it comes to the totaling here, that's the grand total. Sorry, no, the group total we were talking about there, the group total, and it does tell you that it has to be a Kojak format, which I think are
That's correct.
actually C from memory. So all we can really do here is let's open up the report control, take a look at their help, and let's take a look at the format, I suppose, because that's ultimately what we would want to do.
Mhm.
So it's a report control item. Okay. Just trying to see from that if they do offer anything, like the comma separated thousands, which is what you're
Mhm.
after. Okay, not seeing anything there, I'll be honest. I'll just take a quick look on the web on one of the other screens. Won't be 1 second.
Mhm.
I haven't a clue this is right. I'm just taking a quick look here.
Okay.
Okay, so someone's commented that. Let's try it.
Okay.
No. And that is probably because it's got an apostrophe in there. Won't be 1 second. Yeah.
Should be person D and this last name.
Oof. Whatever that did, it didn't particularly like it. So that's probably not the right picture then.
Okay.
And I think what might be an idea is if you contact CodeJock and ask them for an example of how they would get
With it,
comma separated, because it's
Yeah.
their that's somebody. Just 1 second. Just let me make sure they've got the link to our webinar.
Mhm.
John, I think you sent me the link previously for the new webinar. Is that correct?
Yep. Yes, I did.
Okay, let's get that. I'll put it on the Clarion Live chat too. Sorry about this. Glenn, won't be a second. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're just going to try that one. Oh, right, no, that's definitely. I mean, it's having an effect, so you know it's taking their pictures into account. It's just going to be finding the correct picture for it. And I'll be honest, I don't know enough of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think personally, I think the fastest way would be to contact CodeJock. They use it every day. They're going to know what the just like we would know what the Clarion picture would be. They would know what their picture would be. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Because actually it has done in the grand total, but on the we're having a problem with the group total. If you can
Yes,
see
but the
on the
grand
grand
total,
total, it is the comma separated. Yeah.
yeah, but the grand
In the
total
group,
is done via our code, so it's Clarion code, so
yeah,
we can use Clarion pictures. But the group
yeah.
total is an automatic feature from
Mm,
CodeJock, so we need to adhere to what their formats are. That's the difference. The group total is performed automatically, so of course it has to take their formatting commands into account rather than the Clarion format. The grand totals, the overall totals, they're done via our template. So that's Clarion code, and we can use Clarion
mm-hmm.
pictures. But what we can't do is use the C type pictures.
Okay.
So I'm just taking a quick look now if there's anything online, but I'm not seeing it. I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by far the fastest way, like you see here, that picture, the original picture, is saying basically take it to, it's a floating point and it's taking it to 2 decimal places. So that's what we get when we do our group total. Floating point, 2 decimal places. Okay,
Yeah.
but we need that equivalent, but with the commas in it, and that's what I was just looking at online here. So if you take a look, here's one I was just taking a look at.
Mm-hmm.
This looked promising, but it 1000 separator flag for the printf.
Mm-hmm.
But CodeJock
Okay.
would be your fastest to ask. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So people are doing a lot of work there just to work it out for you. But yeah, so I would have to on that one. I think I would have to say you'd have to contact CodeJock direct just to ask how you
Mm-hmm.
would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll take another quick look at their help to see if there's any examples, but there's nothing there. You can see that they are saying basically it's like a C, the printf C function,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I was just looking at there.
Okay. Actually, it's also the same thing with the, if you can see on the list, like for example, it's not only the group total, even the every row, every details from it, it doesn't show the comma separated.
Again, you'd be able to apply a format to it, but it would be a
Yes,
C.
yes,
It would
that's
be a
right,
C
that's right. You
format.
cannot get the group total if you do not apply the format.
Actually, that's not quite true. Let's choose one where we know we've got.
Okay.
Let's generate some data to get some higher values in there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll change that so that generate data gets us bigger values. 1 second. Okay, so this is just a dummy data. Let's generate some particular data. There's our net. Okay, so we're going to say, okay, choose a value between, let's say,
From 1,000 to 10,000, for example.
99 to 99. Yeah, there you go. So
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
okay, so you've got that. Yep, and we've definitely got some higher values there, which is great. Now, what you can do just going to take that column. Let's take a look at the report control. Take the net, and it's taking that picture from, if we take a look at that column name, okay, what it should do is take that from the dictionary. There's the add column. The column alignment, this is where it sets. There. Takes the picture, and the picture for that is that. So if we change our dictionary, because it takes that from the dictionary, okay?
Yeah.
And what we could do, okay, just going to override that one column.
Then
Just place it there, and we'll say, okay, that's the normal picture there is we just want 13.2. Obviously, it could be negative. This is for the net, so we only change one. Okay, so now you've got your commas in there. So he's taking the picture off your dictionary.
the group total doesn't count correctly.
No, I just explained a second ago. That group total is a built-in function of the CodeJock control. So now that we're in charge of setting that particular text, that grouping is an automatic function. We can't do anything about that. You have to use a CodeJock picture, not a Clarion picture. So you'd have to contact CodeJock to ask what their picture is.
I see. Okay, I got you.
Okay, all I was demonstrating there is we're in charge of this, the setting this, well, technically it's a row cell value. So we're in charge of setting what goes into here, which is great, but this totaling function is a built-in function of the control itself. So you're going to have to use their formatting commands. We can control the formatting of these, but we can't control the formatting of that. Well, sorry, we can, but you can only control it using their types of commands, not Clarion commands. So you would get in touch with CodeJock, ask them what a C picture is with a comma separated thousands, and change that picture there.
Is
that okay?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Any other questions while we're on this? I mean, I am just looking at the C help here, but CodeJock would be by far the faster option.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I'll just wait for the next update on the CodeJock format. If how I'm going to get the comma separated for the group total.
Well, I would email their support and just ask, or maybe on their forums, because they do have a quite an active forum, and just ask what the C++ picture would be for comma separated, thousands separated numeric picture.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
thank you.
And then someone will give you that answer, then you can go to the template, put it in there, and it will take effect immediately. So say, for example, I asked for that to 4 decimal places. Bear in mind, that's a C picture, not a Clarion picture. You can use Clarion everywhere except for that automatic totaling. And then you can see here we've got 4 decimal places.
Okay.
So that's the impact that picture would have on the value of going in. Okay, any more questions? We've got another one to cover. So any more questions on ReportControl or any other products?
None so far. None so far.
Okay. So I'm just going to mute that. But if you've got any more, feel free to raise a hand. We'll get that or type the question in, and we'll jump straight back to you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah.
So Alan has got a question, and I'm trying to find the questions box. I can only just see the question. It's a couple of questions or more, depending on time. Okay, always like things like that. So, Alan, you are there. Let's open up the mic. Hi, Alan. Can you hear us?
Hey. Thanks. Well, that's my first time on the user group.
Oh, very good. Welcome. It's worth pointing out the recordings of all these go onto the YouTube channel. So if you go onto YouTube and type Noyantis, you'll get basically our Noyantis group, where you can get to the recordings of all these past webinars.
Well, I've been binge watching those videos for the last few days trying to learn this stuff. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, it's a couple of questions. You helped me try to figure out how to put multiple panes on a window. I've got one all along the left side, and then I put a little filler pane called the workspace in the middle, and then 3 docking panes stacked along the right, and I've got that working.
Okay, I remember, yep.
Yeah, my left pane opens up too wide, and I have tried every setting I can find. It's displaying a clearing procedure. I've changed that window size. I've set max size on the docking pane, etc., but I don't seem to be able to control it.
Okay, so let me quickly explain the docking panes and yeah, right. So let's open up the docking pane example, just to give you a couple of pointers, and then the approach that I would use in your application. So just the type of approach you're using is, I'll just use one of our examples, one of our apps. You've got a pane on the left. Now you also have a pane on the right as well, if I remember correctly, and then you have what I consider to be the work area in the center.
Correct.
Okay. So we use this on the left for navigation, and then we have whatever the content is on the right to take over the workspace. So here we've got the appointment, then we might have a list, so on and so forth. But essentially it's a work area and a navigation. The only difference you've got is you've got another pane as well on the right, which is static on the right. So if I run the docking pane example, just trying to think. Imagine, if you will, here. Okay, here's some panes. Now, the panes will auto size. So if I said, imagine this is a percentage. If I said that pane was only 50% of the width, but it had nothing to the left and nothing to the right, it's going to take up 100% because there's nothing encroaching on its workspace. So it's going to take everything it wants. So if I was to lift that pane up and say, okay, you go there, then the settings obviously of that pane are to take over more of the size and the particular percentage of the that one, so to speak. So if we was to start these two, well, we'll change this example. So we'll say list box and the restore button, and it's under simple panes. Oh, not that one, sorry. So I've got my list box, and I've got it at the top. We'll treat it as a percentage, and then I'll give you a little tip in a second. Okay, so we'll say it's 50% and only 30 and 60% of the height. Okay, so the width, actually no, it's 100% and 60% of the height, and it goes to the top of the pane theme. The pane theme, I'm going to say is 100, and it's only 30%, and it's tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do it this way. The pane list is at the top. We want our pane theme to go to the bottom of the pane list. 100% width, 30% of the height. So that should give us 90%. I'll tell you what, we'll change that. 20% of the height. I'm going to put our close button 50% width, 20% height to the bottom of the pane theme. And then I'm going to have a restore button. Sorry, I forgot that last one. That was 50 and 20, yep. And I'm going to have a restore button, 50% width, 20% height to the right of the close. So the close should be on the left. Let's take a look at that. Okay, list 100%, theme 100%, 60% height, 20% height, and then we've got these 20% height, 20% height, 50% width, 50% width. Okay, so that is the idea. You paint it from the top to the bottom, left to the right. That's how I always do it. They can be, and you are correct, you can tie yourself in knots, and I've done it I don't know how many times, and I know plenty of other users have done exactly the same. So they can be a bit of a nightmare to set up. So the easiest thing is back to basics. Draw it on a pencil and paper. Draw it on paper. Put where your themes, so your panes want to be, and your IDs, and then draw them out like such. So like so on. Now we said that is 100%, and that is 100%, correct? Which means if I pick that up and place it there, I'd have expected them both to. Oh no, it's probably because. Let me come out and go back in. I think those two might be morphing it a little. Probably a bad example. Okay, now, are you with the percentage so far from that point of view?
Yeah, I had no idea it was percentages. I was doing it as points.
Okay, now, well, here's the thing, and I've said I'm going to change this for so long, and I do need to. If I was to pick that up, we've said it's 100 by 60 as a percentage. If I pick that up and have it floating, then it is 100 pixels by 60. Okay, so it's very small. Now, that's only if you want them to be floating. So what I do, just in case you ever want to have them floating, is just multiply them all by 10. So let's just say it's going to be 1000 by 600. Still, as a percentage of an overall 1000, they're still the same percentages. But now what we'll see, same example, same layout, but if we pick that up, it's 1000 by 600, and that is pixels. So as a little trick, and it doesn't make it right, but as a little trick, rather than using your percentages of 100, I just have it as percentages of 1000. I would treat it that way, if you will. Mm-hmm. Now, what I do need to do, and I have promised, I don't know how long, so everyone's welcome to actually give me grief on it, is I need to separate out those, because I tried to originally be very smart and just give you one set of options which will do both sets of internally both sets of values for you, your percentage based and your floating, but they've not worked. So what I do need to do is introduce basically an extra set of height and width. So basically docked width percentage, height percentage, and floating width pixels, height pixels, and that will make it so much easier to understand. So that's my fault, to be fair, and I really should have done that by now. But as a workaround for now, just treat them as, it could be 10,000, doesn't really matter. Well, you wouldn't want 10,000 actually, that would be quite a large screen to go floating. But that's what I would do. So on your example where you've got, we'll just go back to this, I would have, I mean, you might not have your screens floating. They can be very powerful. I know JP in the DMC product he used to sell, he always allowed his screens to be floating, and they are very powerful from that aspect. But if you're not going to do it, then you wouldn't need to do the extra 0 on there from a percentage point of view. Hopefully that helps you for your first one. Yeah. So here I would say that's probably something along the lines of 15 and 85, or maybe 20 and 80, something like that. But I wouldn't do. I would still, as a matter of course, I would normally put the 0 in there as well. So I would have that as 200 and 800, that kind of thing. It's just force of habit, really.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay, so that's one down. You say you got a couple. That's all. That's it. You've also got these settings for you can control the minimum width. So let's say on that close, let's go to our close button. So we said it's 500, but we could actually say your minimum that close could go is actually 350 by 200, and the maximum it can ever go is 600 by 200. So
for doc, is that pixels or percentages?
Well, again, because that's going to be pixels, but bear in mind we've just declared them as 500, so it's all working on this percentage, this 1,000, if you will.
Okay.
So, well, there's our minimum. Oh, that might have just shot me in the foot, actually. Yeah, that's not really a percentage, that is pixels. So I go back to my original thing. It really can throw you. It's a right royal pain in the proverbial, I'll be honest. So there is a degree of playing around, but yeah, that's where you would control such aspects as your resize, the minimums and your maximums, that type of thing. So, and if you ever wanted it so that you couldn't actually resize one, you could actually technically put on there 500 and 500, and that would still allow the pane to be there, but stop it from being resized, because of course it's defined as one size and it's already that size, so it stops it from being resized.
All right. That gives me something to play with. Don't feel quite as stupid.
Oh no! If anyone ever has any kind of questions on the docking page, it's always that the order and the sizes are always the first questions.
All right. Well, let's move to shortcut bar.
Okay. Yep.
I have figured out how to select the bars, programmatically.
Oh yeah, it's not in there, so.
But I can't figure out how to select an item. So, for example, when I select a bar, I want it to drop down and immediately select the first item.
Okay, so now let's just bring the shortcut bar into play here. So 1 second. Do we already have one of our examples in the webinars? We do. Now for the shortcut bar, what are you using as the content? Are you using basically? Let me quickly show you.
I've got it mixed. On one bar, I've got clearing control, and that works fine. I've got a list. I know how it's working. But the others are the template menu, or I'm trying to remember what the option's called. But
okay, well, I mean, let me go into one of the examples. So this is, if it's on the application frame, obviously certain options aren't available if they're on the frame, and if they're not.
Actually, I've gotten rid of the frame. I'm trying to do it with just a regular window. Yeah.
That's right, I remember. So let me just go to something like so. Okay, so you've got it on your window, and you've got one bar there, and it's using. Oh, it's using the existing control. We'll add a new bar. Let's add a brand new bar like you. So bar 2, for want of a better thing. So we've got bar 2. We're going to use a navigation tree. Now, that navigation tree ultimately is just a clarion list. there are better options to accomplish, but we can put some things in here. So we can say option 1, and you could give it a tree if you wanted to give it a particular tree, that kind of thing. Option.ico, I think we've got one. And you would put your code in there when you press that option, what it's got to go and do, that kind of thing. So we'll execute a command and we'll just say message option 1. Option 2. Option 2. So that was navigation tree. No, not that one. That one. So we've got our bar. Option 1, yep. Option 2. So that's a clarion list, what's going in there. So what do you want it to do? If I'm on there, when I go to that bar, you want it to automatically go execute option 1?
I wanted to highlight option 1. Yours is showing it as a list. On mine, let's see, I must be doing something different. I'm using the class-defined queue on the ones I'm having difficulty with. And it just, I click the bar and it's selecting the appropriate tab, but it's not highlighting. Well, I take it back. It doesn't execute the first item. Let me see. Yeah, got a bar, and then on the bar I have an option.
Tell you what, on that, I didn't want the message to go in there. A better one, let's just very crudely get it so we can see what else it's doing. So I'm just going to put a sheet on there with different tabs, and then we can get it to do it that way. At least we can tie them in. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we've got a tab 1. Tab 2, so on and so forth. So we'll have 4 tabs. I don't want that message to put in a message inside of the OCX controls, which is fine, you can do it, but of course it upsets the flow of code as you would expect. So instead of executing that, I'm just going to get it to select a tab for me. So option 1 can select 1, option 2 and can do 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'll make sure I'm all the way over there. So if I go to there and go
okay, right there.
Yep.
See, neither option 1 or option 2 is selected. I'd like to, when I click on bar 2, I would like to have that option 1 choice, the very first one, selected. Right.
Okay, so now here's the thing. So that's just selected 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So we're happy with that. I'm going to put it on 2 actually. Okay, I'm going to go off. So I've purposely gone, and I'm going to go back to that different bar. Now when I go back to bar 2, it does execute it for you, as you would expect. It's because when you first open it up, imagine you've got a clarion list, okay? Not necessarily an ABC browse, forget that, just a clarion list, which is ultimately what this is here, what it writes behind the scenes. Well, when you initialize a list and you say it's from this queue and so on and so forth, there is no prop selected unless you go and set it yourself manually, okay? So we know that it's working. So if I do 1, I'll go off. There you go. We'll complete a different tab. We'll go back, and 1 should be selected automatically now, and it is. So it can do it. It's just when you first go in, and we go to it, there's no option selected at all by default. So that's why you're not getting it when you first go in. Now we've got some options available to you via the template. So we can see what bar to select, and you can do it by name or ID. We've got that. We've got our bar 2. Okay. And we said it's a navigation tree, so you've got what the options are within the tree. I was just wondering if we had an option in there to say what, and that is the tick which makes it work once you've got an option selected. So force new selection with switching to the bar. So when we went back after we'd already chosen an option on our navigation tree, then that's what was making it work for you. If I untick that, you wouldn't have got the required desired effect. But you want that ticked. You want your tree, so that's good. Default option is 1. Select default option when the bar is selected. So let's turn that on.
Okay.
I'm going to put that to 2, just so we can see blatantly it's something different. So if I go to that now, it's gone to 2 and gone to. Okay?
That's it. Okay.
Now,
I that one checkbox.
But there is one thing here, it might not do it for you. I mean, I love to, yep, there's a quick answer for you, brilliant. But let's just make sure it does work, because now I've gone to 1, I come off, I go back to it, it's going to go back to 2, because we're bringing that back in. We said when you go back to that bar, go back to 2. So it really does depend on, do you want it to work as hard as it is there, so every time you go to that bar, it's going to bring 2 into focus? Or do you just want it so that it remembers its last option, if you will?
Well, right now, I want to always have it go to the option 1 whenever the bar is selected.
Oh, well,
so we've got, yeah, so that works perfectly for that. It would be interesting, though, to be able to set it programmatically.
Well, because it's just a clarion list, it would literally be, and you can get access to that. So I'm just going to turn that facility off. Okay, so we're back to where we were. The default option being 1, but it's not going to do it. So let's just make sure we are back where we thought. Back to there, back to that, and nothing. Which means if I'm on that tab, I go to it, there's nothing. And then, of course, it would remember. So we go over here, we go back, and it's going to go back to number 1, which is good. So we just need to set what the default is the very first time. So let's just take a look at that. Okay, so that's the queue. No, that's not that. I wouldn't create a queue like that. Not via the template. Nope. Just 1 second. Let me. I know what I'm looking for, but it's going to be in the class. So I'm just going to open this up on the other screen. Won't be a second. Okay, so we'll bring that in. It's going to, it'll be assigned. Bar queue now. You might have a method there. Let me take that out. Let's see if we can do that. So what we want to do, a good embed point, again for all of the templates, is go to the particular class in question, and you've got init prepare, init complete, init OCX. There is a sequence to all of these. I would put your code in the init complete. And what we're going to do in there is self.set nav menu selection, and we're going to say on bar 2, which was that name of our bar, 1 is our default option. So we'll just try that first, and then we'll come back to that code to make sure it works. Make sure it, you can record it. Into there, we're going to select that, and it's gone to 1. So we set what the default option is. I can now go off, go back, go elsewhere, and it's going to bring the last one into ping. So that's how you would do the best of both worlds for you. If you wanted it so it only set it originally, then in the init complete, set the nav bar, the nav menu selection for a particular bar, which is the one we just added, bar 2, and which option number you want it to have for the selection. And of course you might want to do that under your own code. So for example, in that bar, I'm going to have another option. Option 3. It's not exactly exciting, but you get the idea. That's going to select tab 3. And what I'm also going to do is put a button on the screen. And that's going to be opt 3. What that's going to do is, via code, go and select an option for you. So it will be your shortcut bar dot. Okay, and that's going to be option 3. I'll see that in action. And if I was to go to there, 1 is, and it's there, and if we choose that, well, now it's set it, what we would also have to do is then tell it to go and execute it. Yeah, you'd have to call the new selection as well, which would be, because you're doing it manually, not that one, sorry. Shortcut bar, new selection, bar 2, 3. And then you are emulating the user going pressing that option. Okay.
Fantastic. All right. Exactly what I needed.
Brilliant. Okay, we're on a roll there. Any other questions?
Well, I don't want to
Just
hog
yourself,
time out.
there's no other questions coming in. We've got more attendees, so as always, anyone's got any ideas or questions, and feel free to raise a hand and so on, and we'll get the mics open. But the floor's yours at the moment, Alan. Have you got some more?
All right. Drag and drop from a docking pane to a command bar, and actually to the quick access bar specifically. I couldn't find any methods for that. Do you know if that's supported?
That's a really good one. So from a docking pane to the quick access, what are you trying to achieve? That's interesting. What are you trying to achieve there?
Well, actually it's a Clarion list in the docking pane, and
Okay.
it's a list of say clients.
Yep.
And my quick access would have various actions you can perform with the client, and I'd like to just drop the client on the little button and have that execute for that client.
Got you. Okay, I like the idea of that. Just because others might be watching this going, what's a quick access? That kind of thing. So let's just open up the command bars. These are previous webinar examples, so we'll just quickly, easy just to open those up and compile. Now, the quick access is, we've all used Outlook and Excel and Word and so on, and when you're in ribbon interface, let's just get this compiled so I can show you. Something like so. When you're in ribbon interface, this is a quick access. And it's up to you if you allow your, just 1 second. Oh, sorry, just somebody coming in offering a brew, and you're never going to turn down a cuppa. Yeah, this is a quick access. Now, you can, if you allow your users to basically maintain that yourself, and you normally say here, we'll there's a checkbox. I'll add that. We say add to quick access, and it actually goes and adds that option here to there as well. Okay, so that is the quick access relationship. Same as here, so we could access that as well, and there's our quick access for that. You can save and restore. So that's the built-in access to the quick access, if you will. And that's done via some template flags. What you're after doing is taking, and yeah, it could be something down here, taking a control from somewhere else and dropping it into this same area. So let's say you had a button to say, I don't know, charge a client and so on, or charge client ABC, that kind of thing. You want to be able to pick that up, drop it in there, and anything which really is attached to that button, you're going to go and re-emulate. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. The answer at the moment from a drag and drop of other controls into the quick access is no, it's not supported via the class and the template natively as it is. I'd have to check if the control does allow it. Now, obviously, the control allows access to the quick access area. So if we have a look here, this is the raw Clarion. Sorry, this is an actual a COM viewer, if you will. If we take a look at, just trying to find where the things are, but the command bar quick access. So ribbon options, ribbon groups. Let me open up the class and see what I can find for you in there. Here's the class. It will be under the quick access. Yeah, see, we give you methods so you can go and add to the quick access. Okay, so which bar, which name, which ID, and what icon, so on and so forth, and that will actually add a button straight to the quick access area. So that's just like we did, you know, that set option 3 a minute ago when we emulated the user doing it. Then we could do the same. Really should close Outlook. We could do the same here. So we could have a button down there. When you pressed it, it goes off and manipulates that. But to do it via drag and drop, I think it'll be doable. I probably would have to intercept the drop and also intercept that you are dropping it over the quick access area. So there's a bit of work involved in getting what you call the metrics of just that area. So there's a bit of work involved. The quick answer, not that you want to hear it, is no, not natively, but I think it probably would be achievable.
All right.
Okay, you can manipulate these contents via methods, via code. So that's it's doable. It's just detecting the dropping over there. Now you do have a very powerful command called a hit test. If I was to bring that help back up again and just do, not that you need to know about this, this is how I would approach it. On the command bar, everything has a hit test, you see, because we've got the hit test of the backstage list of a command bar. Actually, I can't see the hit test of the command bar itself. That's a bit worrying. The hit test is basically where have you pressed? Where have you clicked on that control? So, for example, the calendar hit test will tell me where you've clicked pixel-wise on it's a bit like the mouse X, mouse Y, if you will, when you mouse down on a Clarion window. The hit test does exactly the same. But it would depend on if I could detect the hit test on the command bar itself. If I can't do that, then the answer would be no, because I wouldn't know if you are dropping it over the actual quick access area, if that makes sense. I could probably detect that you're dropping it over the top of the command bar. I could probably detect that. What I wouldn't be able to do is know that you're dropping it in just this particular area only.
Okay. Yeah, I think I actually I went and looked at CodeJock and looked in your stuff. There's somewhere I saw some stuff for drag and drop onto the command bar itself. So.
Well, let's just take. I'm always happy to. Let's have a look. The command bar object. That's like the parent, the start of it, if you will. So from here, you would go. Okay. Well, what are the highest level methods that we've got? What are the highest level properties? I'll probably start from there. Layout, set icons, no. I'd have to do some. I'd have to do some checking, to be honest with you, to see what's capable and what's not. Probably beyond the scope of this webinar, but I can take a look. Now's a pretty good time because the command bar is having some work done regarding the backstage view and the speed of loading. For those who don't know what a backstage view is, if I was to open up one of the regular type, just new document, there you go. So that is a ribbon bar, which we're all used to with the tabs and so on. And now now they've introduced this file, came about a few iterations ago, and you press that and you get this type of interface, and that is what's called the backstage view. So you've got that coming in the next build. So work to be done on it to make it, to clarionize it, if you will. but yeah, that's coming in the next build.
Cool. Well, I have one more general one, but I don't want to monopolize the time. So if you've got other questions, I'll yield.
No, I'm quick. I do keep an eye on them. No, there's no others. People are paying attention, which is good. So they're finding it interesting.
Okay. All right. Well, this one I think should be interesting. I've got a bunch of your stuff I'm using, and one is SkinFramework, along with CommandBars, Shortcut, etc. And I'm trying to figure out exactly how the theming interacts between those. It seems like they're a little bit different. So can the SkinFramework set all of the different controls? It doesn't seem to affect the command bar.
It's a tough one, that, to be fair, because let's open up the skin and show you, give you a tiny bit of history on that at the same time. Have we even got the skin example there? No, so let me just bring that in. Let's move that out of the way. Can't see if we're looking. There we go. There. Yep. Okay, so just open up the skin example. Now, basically, just while that's opening and converting, the skin files, basically, I'm not sure when they came around. Might be Windows XP, might be Windows Vista, might be Vista actually. Microsoft came up with what they call Microsoft style files, and basically what they can do is just from what the settings within one file can change various attributes within Windows. So they can change the Windows background, they can change your the taskbar, the bar down here, the start menu, so they can change that. They can change all aspects of it. So they are known as MS style files. Now, a CodeJock style file is nothing more than a Microsoft style file, but without all the added content of the likes of the start menu, because the CodeJock style file can only change your application. What it can't do is go off and change the rest of Windows. It's not really got built for it. It's not its scope. So it's a subset of a style file, all the ones which are relevant to your application only, which make them smaller and more efficient. They ship some settings, so you can see straight away. This one is set to change the menu. Sorry, the window to more of an Apple type setting, and it's going to change some lists and so on. And the progress bar has changed accordingly. So we've got some changes. Actually, I'm working on some other changes to make sure that these come back in, because they should also be skinned, and that as well. Okay, so that's a style file. Now, how does it interact with the other controls? It really does depend on the content of the style file, if you want the truth. So you might have chosen a style file which knows nothing of the ribbon bar, so it's not going to skin it because it doesn't know what it is in the first place. So really, it would come down to the content of the style file that you're using, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So if we had a style file which didn't know what a progress bar was, then you would apply it here, and that would still be a standard Clarion Well, that is a Clarion progress bar. But what I'm saying is it would look like the standard Clarion one as well, because it doesn't know what it is, so it would totally ignore it and so on. Internally, it goes off the particular definitions and IDs. So if we have a look at a typical CodeJock install, so I'm going to go to 19. It could be any. I think it's under utils actually, and you do get a skin builder. Now in there you can open up one of their style files, so I'm actually going to open up one. So let me just open up that. I'll open up one of their examples. Oh no, not that one. Nope, not that. There's some skin. Oh, well, after that, I was actually after. Let's open up their Office 2010. Now, has that got any particular? I'm trying to think where the settings are. No. Let me find one of their files. SkinProj. 1 second. Sure, I've done this in the past to actually crack one open and use it. No. That'll be the one I've just opened now. Yeah, 28. Oh, there was one there. Must have done it a while ago. Okay. I thought that would have opened it, and you get to see all the separate entities in there. Let me just try and open another one now and see if that kind of helps. No, you would get schemas, and in that schema you would get plenty of different particular elements which you, a bit like imagine an ini file, and you have the sections within an ini, and they are built very similar to that, and then you get all the particular options like, okay, we've got a button, and you want to have the caption, how you want it coloured if it was a frame, so on and so forth. Don't really help you on that, but I'm trying to think how you would open one of those up. And it's better that to actually do exactly what we wanted then, to be honest with you, and it's not. Yeah, you can see there it's saying the ini, because inside of it it's actually a combination of those. No. Let me go to their example folder. Okay, they're the ones what are shipped. Yep, that's fine. So there's an ini, and there's a normal. I wonder if we can import. Is there an import or something? Yeah. Import MS style file. Let's use it that way. Okay. So let's say their Windows 10 style file. That's better. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If I was cracking up there, it's like I've done this. I know I have. That's their Windows 10, which we used in our training at CIDC. So it's the red. We can see the separate sections of it, just as I would expect, and you can see now it's telling you they're a compiled CJ style file but its construction is very much like an innie, where you have sections, and each section has a lot of properties. So it's built like so. So we can see there office access, system matrix, and you've got your caption and so on and so forth. So there's the red. So we should be able to change that, and you just change this, or let me just change it so it's easier to see. There you go. So the white there. Great. And that's basically what you would do. Go off and build, and then do an export. And build your own. But it would depend on the like say a ribbon, and does it know what the ribbon is? For you to use to go one step further, let me get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. When you come to using, let me just put in there command bar. And you've got your themes. Now, it's got a load of built-in themes, it's got the shipped external ones, or you can tell it to use the SkinFramework theme. But that will then say, okay, you're down to the content of the skin, ultimately.
All right. Right now, the skins I have are the ones that ship with the, with your template.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they should
I would have expected those to affect. So let's put not done this, so let's try. I'm going to put on this example, let's have a window very quickly. Not that. Okay, I'm going to do a button. Ribbon bar. I'm going to call a procedure which is going to have a ribbon bar on it. Okay, there's a ribbon bar. We'll have a quick window. Very quick, but we get the idea, and we'll have a command bar on there. Okay. Ribbon interface. One tab. With one group. And we'll just have a couple of buttons on that. I'll tell you what we'll do actually. Let's help ourselves out on. Yeah. Let's go back to our old command bar. I don't know if anyone uses the export facility and the import, but we might as well. There was good time went into it. Oh, wrong option. Here's our command bar. We've got a tab just called controls, controls 2, controls 3. Just have a look at what the groups are. Buttons, edits. Won't be a second, just making a note. Oh, do you know what we actually? Yeah, that'll do. That'll give us some. going to export all of these, so we'll just hold XML. I'm going to put it into the SkinFramework folder. Okay, that's just exported our command bar for us. I'm not going to create all the parents, which we had in the other one, but just a couple, just so the import will put some controls in there for us, and that'll give us a more realistic command bar. So I'm going to have controls, and on there we had buttons and edits. We also had some more, so I'll have controls too, which had fonts, scrolls, labels, and last but not least, hyperlinks. Like, you know, that's enough. We get the idea. So now I can import the XML from our other application, which is now we haven't got our system button, but basically we've got a lot of content in our ribbon bar. Because we've got actions associated with them. So that's okay. Let me get rid of a load of this 1 second. The intention was nice.
Yeah, that import export's important to know.
You have got, although I wanted it by the DevCon, I never got it, but what we did want is a visual editor for it. So that is still very much on the cards. So you'll be able to just call a button off here and have a visual editor, which will then populate the template for you. Okay, that label, the markup. I'll just get rid of the markup. There, went against me, didn't it? Okay. What not to do in a webinar. All I wanted was a decent ribbon bar. Okay. Now there's no theme in there, so that's fine. That's good. Perfectly fine. So in that folder, that's our master examples, which I will be restoring the SkinFramework one afterwards. From the version of CodeJot, that's also important. So I'm using version 19 control. So you take the style files out of that version, the related style. So at the moment, it's going to use one of the predefined styles. I remember rightly, I think we said 2010, was it? 2010 blue? Yeah. So that is our 2010 blue. Captions still appear for the window, but the ribbon bar is told to basically act accordingly, like so. There's our edits and so on. There's over tab. So now we're going to change that to say, right, use the skin. Custom skin. Now that should take its settings from the skin. That's the idea behind it. Now we're using an Apple one, so I very much doubt that skin will have anything in there for a ribbon. And no, it doesn't. Okay. So let's change what skin that's using. So I'm going to jump back to the skin. We'll copy those skins in. They're from the CodeJock install. And I'm going to choose the Windows... Now I'm going to choose the Office 2010. I'd expect that to work, really, to have the ribbon in there. Okay, so it's taken on an Office type theme now. We can see here it's taken on the Office 2010 blue background, so on and so forth. So our ribbon, no, I still don't like it. I find that hard to believe because I think that would include. Ooh, okay. I'll look at blue normal size. I'm just looking at the inner sections here, so you can see I've got common and blue. We can see it's got content. I'm not sure, Alan. I'd have to have a look and do some digging on that for you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I basically wrote some code that just set the ribbon bar, command bar, different from the SkinFramework under various conditions. So,
Let me just try ribbon and see if that takes effect with the with it. No, not convinced whether that's my fault or theirs. It could be a template one. Could be a template issue. To be honest, so that's why I'm a bit hesitant on it to pass the book and say it's it's their fault. I'm not quite convinced on that. There's every chance that could be one of mine.
Okay, well, it's not anything critical at the moment. I'll just set that on the back burner to figure it out.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look. That'll probably want a little bit of a play-in to check the compatibility between the two.
Perfect. All right, thanks.
Okay, and any others? Oh, just trying to see, depending on time. No, but we are almost up on time, so hopefully that was beneficial to everybody. It was a general idea. Any other questions before we wrap up?
Will I be getting a link next week, by the way? I did register. How does that normally work?
Oh, yes, basically, the really bad timing for yourself joining. We the normal user group URL, you sign up to it, you should get your reminder, so on and so forth. It got cancelled. I forget how, and so on. I didn't renew. There was an admin hiccup. So the new one was created, which means everyone has to sign up to the new one. But I think if you go via clarionlive.com, you do your register, and then you should get your normal weekly reminder.
Yeah, I did that, and I'll do it again. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it should. Well, just check the ID. Now, I brought in on Skype earlier, basically ending. Let me copy that URL and put it on the screen for you. So that's the register to go with that. So just check you have got that, and you should definitely still get your reminders, and they're all scheduled and so on and so forth.
All right. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate your time.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Enjoyable, as always. Hopefully next week we'll cover some of the command bar update. That's the general idea. But I will keep you all posted in the meantime. Plus, there will be a report control update coming out, as I say, related to being able to bind your variables easier, put your range limits on for the as you would expect for the view, and the conditional icons, plus a facility which I'll be putting in because I need it for my application. So of course that goes in. But say for example on this app we have the new up here, but we don't have the change and delete. They are on the right click. Now what we're going to also do is have it so that they appear on buttons at the end of the row, so you can immediately go to amend one row, single click, even taking away the double click. So it's more, I think, the likes of QuickBooks Online, that type of approach where you see the buttons built into the actual line and so on. So that will also be added. That's coming your way very shortly too. Right. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Until next week. Goodbye.